The truth occurs.
Hi everyone. So Trayvon Martin was a 17-year-old young man who was shot and killed by one George Zimmerman in a gated community in Florida on the 26th of February. Was it racially motivated? Because Trayvon was black, African American, and George Zimmerman is Peruvian/Jewish, although the media has made him out to be more white than anything. Self-defense? Was it self-defense? What is self-defense? Why was George Zimmerman not arrested? Or was this maybe some kind of false flag or Manchurian candidate? That's something people have been asking me as well. So I'll go through all these things, and if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. So Trayvon was walking home from the store carrying some Skittles and an Arizona iced tea when he was spotted by George Zimmerman, who was in some kind of state of paranoia. He called 911 and reported that there was someone there who didn't look right. And you can hear all this, the tapes are on YouTube. And Zimmerman was told by the police that the police were on their way and not to go after Trayvon, but he went after him anyway. Some kind of altercation resulted, which nobody apparently witnessed directly. Zimmerman says that he was thrown to the ground and beaten, although he didn't go to the hospital that night. You know, he says he had a broken nose, but he didn't go to the hospital. Supposedly he went the next day, but no one has so far produced any medical records. And then he shot Trayvon. And in the 911 tapes, you can hear somebody yelling, "Help me," in the background. And some witnesses say it was Zimmerman who was yelling, "Help me." Some say it was Trayvon. To me, it sounds like a teenager. So this took place in a gated community. And Trayvon was in there visiting his father's girlfriend. He was just walking back from the store. So when this happened, Trayvon wasn't actually committing any kind of crime. Zimmerman says that Trayvon looked like he was on drugs. And Trayvon suspended 3 times for drugs, truancy, graffiti, carrying burglary tools. And did he attack bus driver too? New picture emerges of victim as parents claim it's all a smear. So basically what they're trying to say now is, well, Trayvon was no angel. You know, they show a picture of him with the gold grills in his teeth and some stuff that he supposedly tweeted about having hit a bus driver and talking about smoking pot and things like that. Well, he was apparently suspended from school for things like graffiti and skipping class or something like that. I mean, you know, if that makes you a criminal, well then I guess I was a criminal too. Well, I didn't do graffiti, but I did skip class. I don't really think that that makes you a criminal. Apparently he was caught once with some jewelry in his bag, but there was no arrest. It went no further. He said it wasn't his, and that's where it ended. So far there's nothing to say Trayvon had any kind of criminal background, nothing solid. He smoked pot. He was caught with some marijuana residue in a pipe or something like that. Well, why don't you replace that word with a beer bottle? Because marijuana doesn't make you a criminal, it doesn't make you violent, and we should just change our views about marijuana. So he was caught with some marijuana paraphernalia, big deal. Meanwhile, George Zimmerman had been arrested previously. Apparently he was arrested for domestic violence, resisting an officer without violence, and resisting an officer with violence. The charges against him were dropped after he completed a pre-trial diversion program, maybe anger management. Notice that the article said son of a retired judge. So could that have something to do with why the charges were dropped? Well, it's possible. Could that also have something to do with why he wasn't arrested when he killed Trayvon? Possibly. In many states, if you're in a situation where you're being attacked, you have a duty to retreat, but not in Florida. You can stand your ground in self-defense. But how can you call it self-defense when you go after someone who hasn't done anything to you and then shoot them when they're unarmed? Some people are already saying that, you know, this is some kind of false flag to get a race war going. Well, I don't think it's a false flag. I personally really think that George Zimmerman is some kind of crazy, paranoid guy who wants to be the vigilante citizen, whose father is a judge. He can probably get away with more than most people. And that he just, you know, shot this kid, and that the police didn't do their job properly. They say they can't arrest him, or they couldn't arrest him because they didn't have probable cause. But to me, like I said, going after somebody when you've been told by the police not to, and then shooting them when they're unarmed, to me that should be probable cause. It seems that they should have arrested him and then had him, plead self-defense. So I don't think that, George Zimmerman is a Manchurian candidate or that this is a false flag, but I do think that the media or the government can use this to fuel racial tensions. Maybe that's the false flag. Is to just stir this all up and divide people more than ever along racial lines. And the race card is something that the shadowy overlords, the elites of the world, use to just divide us, to split us up from each other and keep us, infighting. And I think up there, at those high levels where they are, they know that there's really no such thing. There are no such real differences, or they're of no real consequence. But they like to just play this up to keep us thinking that it really matters what color someone's skin is or where they're from, and that we should segregate ourselves and keep fighting with each other. And that's just something that they use to divide and conquer. And this case of Trayvon Martin, if this becomes a racial issue and stirs up race war, that's just more of that same divide and conquer tactic. So let me know what you think. Why wasn't George Zimmerman arrested? And is this a race issue? So leave me your comments, and thanks for listening to me, and I'll see you next time.